You've reached the hard mode and experienced the difficulty spike not only in your actual battles but when playing Fort Condor as well. I'm the Samurai and today I will be sharing my strategy that works in every opponent in the game. Board in units first, and we'll be following a single strat from all opponents, so there will be stapled units with a slight variation. And in terms of boards, Grandmaster board stops everything and it is the one that I am using. It can grant easy wins due to its Materia abilities, and while it can only charge up to 5 ATBs max, trust me, it is more than enough. Next up would be the units, and keep in mind that these units will not be replaced as you jump from one opponent to another, and that will be the Slug Ray facility, so you can produce Slug Rays, Grenadier Barracks for Grenadiers, and the last facility would be Riot Trooper Barracks for its tanky Riot Troopers. The other two units vary depending on which opponent we are facing, but no worries, I made a separate guide on how to get all of the units at your disposal, or if you're just curious on how all the units looks like, you can check the card here or the link in the description section below. It is time for the actual strats, and it is important to know how the strategy works. I have divided it into pointers so anyone can have a nice picture of what's going to happen. Point number 1 is to determine the goal. The goal is pretty much simple. It is to set up your facilities as soon as possible to produce a lot of units across the board to overwhelm your opponent. The other two units serve as a backup for defensive or offensive measures, or simply to counter the units that your opponent will throw at you. Point number 2, use your Materia abilities. These abilities are sick and OP that can turn the tides of the battle right off the bat. There is no exact order when to use these abilities, but only remember two things. First is, you can use your abilities to protect your facilities, especially when you don't have a lot of units at the start of battle. And second is destroying the momentum of your opponent by waiting for the right time and already build up several units. Point number 3, and the last one, don't let your ATB charges sit when it's full. As soon as you gain enough charges, placing an available facility as soon as possible is a must. The order of facilities that I place usually is Slug Race first, Grenadier, and the Riot Trooper Barracks, but this varies as well. Now that you understand the basic mechanics of this setup, it is time we face our mighty opponents in a Fort Condor battle. Before anything else, if you are into straight to the point guides, tips, and tricks like this one, subscribe to the channel so you will not miss out my weekly content, especially my weekly streams. See you on there, and with that out of the way, let's jump into Kyrie's first. Kyrie has a Vanguard themed setup, so our assist units are a Blast Ray and an Armored Shock Trooper. This fight is an easy one, so at the start of battle, set up the Slug Ray facility and Grenadier. You can put your units anywhere, it is completely up to you, so you can place them in one corner so they can assist one another, or divide your units on both entries. Both strats have their pros and cons, but I usually deploy them in one place, but there's a possibility that they will suffer from Materia attacks and suffer heavy losses, which in my experience does not happen a lot. I use Thunder when she tried to place a security barracks, ruining her momentum, and place a Blast Ray to counter her Vanguard units and give my facility time to produce more troops. My Grenadiers fell on the other end, so I used Arrow to quickly take out the units that breach my base to tip the balance once again. Place as many facilities as you can, and literally the battlefield will be swarming with your units in no time, and it will be too much for your opponent to handle and eventually get your easy clear. Now that you've seen the setup in action and understand it, we will go for the same strat to beat the others. Johnny is next, and use Elite Security Officer and Elite Heli Trooper as your assist units this time and head for battle. Place a Slug Ray facility and Grenadier Barracks to ramp your units. I decided to have another Slug Ray facility to keep up the pace, but you can place a Riot Trooper Barracks if you like. Place an Elite Heli Trooper to make the other end busy, and use a Thunder Materia on Johnny's defensive units. Keep pressing on as you place your facilities near your current army and get the clear. Shinra Manager is the next target, and assist units will be Elite Security Officer and Elite Heli Trooper once again. Place a Slug Ray and Grenadier facilities right off the bat. If there are a handful of units coming your way, your materials are at your disposal. I use stopping here to halt their advance and add backed units if you have a decent amount of slug rays and grenadiers around for additional manpower. I use arrow to crush the resistance, and by this time, you already have an army to overwhelm the manager and win the match. Fine, Lady Jessie is next, and I went on full range units this time, and assist units will be Elite Grenadier and Elite Shock Trooper. Start the battle and place Slug Ray and Grenadier facility as usual, and crush the units that she built with your Materias, Thunder in my case, and Arrow for her guard dogs, to give you an ample amount of time to build up your units on the other end. Go for the Riot Trooper barracks and press on as usual and lead Jessie to her submission. 3 opponents left to beat, and Roche is next in line. He's no different compared to the other ones you have beaten, and bring Armored Shock Trooper and Blast Ray for this fight. Deploy a Slug Ray facility and 2 Riot Trooper barracks this time, and if you use the Cutter unit, immediately counter it with a Materia ability so you can get rid of it as fast as you can, and add a Grenadier barracks if you have enough Riot Troopers and Slug Rays, and use your remaining Materia abilities to crush any resistance and win the fight. Moving on to Wedge, and he is a little bit tough due to his strong units, and we will use the same lineup. Deploy the Riot Trooper barracks first, and following up with a Slug Ray facility. Use stop to hold any unit that will try to advance, so you will have a time to produce more units. If he deployed a helicopter, use an arrow to damage it. Don't forget to add Armored Shock Troopers or Blast Rays if you have enough slugs and Riot Troopers. This will be a long battle, but stick to the same strategy to overwhelm Wedge with your numbers. This is it, the final battle. Our boy Chadley has the same strategy like ours, meaning he will put as many barracks and facilities out there to gain the upper hand. Bring an Armored Shock Trooper and Heli Trooper as your assist units, and as soon as the battle starts, deploy a Slug Ray facility and a Heli Trooper for you to advance. Quickly use Thunder or Arrow for this case to his deployed facilities to cripple his production. Rush him with your Grenadier and Riot Trooper barracks to return your momentum. If you need to defend your base on the other end, an Armored Shock Trooper will do the trick, or use the remaining Materia abilities. Keep on deploying your barracks and facility near your base so they can join the fun right away. If you need more pressing power, instead of another facility, add up another Armored Shock Trooper and ultimately beat Chadley. That is pretty much it for this guide, and I know that there are a lot of ways to optimize my setup, and feel free to experiment and have fun in the process, and my goal is for you to have a basic idea on how to beat the hard mode, and I had fun in Fort Condor and got addicted to it, to be honest, and I hope we will still have it in the next episodes of FF7 Remake. Do you have better strats or questions? Shoot them down in the comments and I will gladly answer them for you. If you find this guide useful, support the channel by liking the video and by subscribing. Hit that bell icon to not miss my weekly uploads and streams, and as always, thanks for watching. For more FF7R content, keep it locked here at JRPG Samurai. Stay awesome and safe, and I'll catch you on the next one.